Let's make coffee and a latte and see what's the difference. Let's go. I can't be Alicia's life in coffee and not talk about coffee. So let's talk about the differences between a latte and a cup of coffee using my espresso machine and my Nespresso machine. So some people may know the difference, but everybody doesn't. So we're going to go down the differences between making a latte, which is majority milk, 2 shots of espresso, maybe a little cream, a flavor of some sort, sometimes a little foam if you like all that sweetness. And then, of course, a cup of coffee, which could be drip, or like I said, I'm using an espresso. So we're going to put a little cream in that and maybe a little flavor. I think sometimes people get confused on the different drinks. I hear people often order an iced coffee and then they get it and it don't taste like what they thought it was going to taste like, because the iced coffee is majority iced dripped coffee with a little bit of cream or flavor, versus a latte is just a little bit more velvety, and it just depends. And some people think that one is stronger than the other, but it just depends on the beans and the strength. Anyways, let's make a cup of coffee together and a latte. First, we're going to start with our latte. I always like to put in my milk. I use non-dairy almond milk, sometimes oat milk, but I pretty much stick with almond milk. So inside of my milk frother and warmer, so mine does hot foam, just steam the milk, and then it also will do a cold foam. I like to add a little smidget of a creamer. So this is a non-dairy creamer as well as almond milk. It's the brown sugar flavor. Now, obviously, if your creamer has a flavor, sometimes you got to think about that when you're choosing an actual syrup that you might want to put in it. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, pop the top, put in a scoop of the espresso grounds right in there. It's really simple. You don't want to pack it too much. And there we go. So some people may have like fancier little situations, but this works. So this is what your double shot will look like before you put it in your machine. Now my machine does have a steamer. I have used it a couple times, but I just like using that measurement wise. But anyway, so we go ahead and we put it right in here. Now the fun part. Remember I said I don't like to put too much syrup in when I'm already using a creamer that has a syrup. So this is toffee nut. So we're just gonna put like, let's say 2 pumps in there, and that's enough for me. And then it just goes right in here and you press double shot and the shot pours. So this is what it'll look like, and you'll see that kind of creamy color. That's okay, and then that's when you know it's making that le creme on. All right, and just like that, it's done. So this is what it'll look like. Oh my god, it smells so good. So this is what it'll look like when you get your creme on top. This is good. Our milk is frothed. And now we pour the milk in here. That's how that goes. And then you just pour your milk in. I'm not making latte art, but this is the vibe. Okay? A little stir and sip. Now, I don't know when I started preferring lattes over regular drip coffee. I will drink regular drip coffee, but there's something about a good latte. Okay, so first sip. Wow. It's so good. Okay, now let's make our cup of coffee with Nespresso. Next is our Nespresso. We're going to do a Starbucks 7-ounce Nespresso pod to make our coffee. Be right back. So like I said, for the Nespresso, it's just like having a cup of coffee. For these pods, it's a 7-ounce pod. So I do about 2 ounces of creamer just to warm it, but not to froth it, because I don't want it too thick, because Nespresso already creates a foam. So you just turn it on really simple. Then you pop it up so it opens, and then you put the pod inside. And you can get the pods from Nespresso.com. Also in store, there's a few locations, and some random websites have them in some grocery stores. So get your pod.
This is Sip and Chat with Alicia.
So some of y'all may be like, Alicia, how did you start like loving coffee? So during the pandemic, obviously many of us didn't have a whole lot to do. And I always have been a coffee drinker, like being a hairstylist, like we drink coffee. But I would be like not super, like I wasn't like an every morning coffee drinker. I wasn't a Starbucks drinker. I started out actually as a Frappuccino lover. And then I discovered hot coffee. Then I discovered iced coffees. And then I discovered shaken espressos. That changed the game for me. That is my jam right there if it's going to be cold. I'll do a regular iced latte when I try new places, because I feel like you can't mess up, like a good coffee shop can't mess up a regular vanilla or caramel iced latte, like seriously, with almond milk or oat milk. So my passion came during the pandemic. We were just sitting. So I like watched a bunch of YouTubes, took a couple little random courses on being a barista, and it developed the passion for it. Um, but then I decided, do I really want this to be a business though? Is this more of a hobby and just a passion? So doing like the sipping chats in my house is more my vibe. I have done a few events, which I love, and I am open and in love with the idea of baristing like people's small events, like little meet-ins, meet and greets, things like that. But a full-blown business, I'm not sure yet. The spirit hasn't moved me to move forward with that. But anyways, I started out with an espresso. I didn't have the espresso machine first. So I started being like, I like the idea of this. And how they sell you on is sending you the variety pack of the different pods so you can taste different flavors and understand, even though I know the pods is different than like actual ground coffee. Then I discovered coffee, actual beans, and grinding them. And in my travels during the last couple of years, when I've gone to Jamaica, Dominican Republic, like I like to buy coffee there because it is just, this Jamaican coffee I got was amazing. I wish I remember the brand, but I also sometimes, occasionally, like I said, I'll do a quick iced coffee with an instant coffee. I really like this Nescafe Gold Espresso. Okay, it's strong. It's got a nice punch. It has a little bit of flavoring to me. Like it reminds me of, if you're familiar with Blonde from Starbucks. Like it reminds me of that vibe. So I do like 2 scoops of that. I don't know if that's the real. Oh, it's supposed to be 1 teaspoon, but nevertheless, with some ice and milk, like it waters it down. So that's where the passion came from. I started off with this and then moved on to this, and I'm planning on moving on to bigger and better machines. Okay, all right, so let's make the Nespresso coffee. Okay, so you put your pot in. Oh, I love that sound. Look at that. Come on, like how do you not love looking at the way the coffee looks? Oh my gosh, the layers, the creme on the top. And this is not an ad. It may be one day, but right now this is not an ad. But I also understand some people don't love Nespresso because of the foam, but I love the foam. I love the foam. And I know some of my other some of my coffee girly friends don't love the foam, but I do love hot foam. I don't like cold foam as much as I like to see my latte or coffee foam. Oh my God, that's so pretty. I'm sorry. That is pretty. So let's add some cream and a little bit of flavor, and let's go take it to my mom, okay? Okay, I don't want it to overflow. The foam got to go down some. But she don't like a lot. She like hers kind of strong, so. All right, let's give her a little vanilla pump. All right, let's stir it up. Ooh, come on. Tell me that's not so cute. Okay. She's gonna love it, okay? The beauty of having a multi-generational house is, excuse the boxes, is I get to see my mom every day and take her a cup of coffee occasionally. So that's what we're going to do in our Whitney Houston shirt. Okay. All right, y'all. Giving her her coffee. Okay, take a sip. Delicious. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye now. All right, well, you got to meet my mom and you got to learn a little bit about coffee. So we have coffee and a latte. We'll talk a little deeper about cold brews, instant coffee, concentrate coffee in another video. But all you need to know is to make a delicious cup of coffee, you can use instant. Investing in espresso is worth it, or any other pod related type of machines. I'm not a fan of K cups. I drink them on vacation and Airbnbs, but that's not my thing. But anyways, I love a latte. I'm a latte girl. I like espresso. I like sipping a little espresso. I just love tasting the flavors. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little coffee video. And I wonder if you can actually hear the slurping. Hold on. I just wanted to see. Okay, cut. Anyways, all right. Cheers to a latte, or a cup of coffee, or a cup of tea, or matcha. Okay, cheers to just your drink of choice.